Good evening and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Tom Waters, and I'm so glad to have you back with us. I have outstanding guests for you this evening. This is going to cover a lot of information, and as I tell you for every show, be sure to make sure you have something to write with because we're going to provide you a lot of information. We don't want you to miss anything. And my first guest is going to be Miss Linda Wright. She's done a lot of things in our community, so I don't want you to confuse with everything else she's doing. Tonight, she's going to be talking about veterans and Together with Veterans. She's the chairperson for that, and as chairman, she has a lot of work to do. So I'm going to first, I want to welcome her to the show. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you for having me.
So glad to have you with us tonight. And we're going to be talking about this dynamic topic of veterans and veteran suicides.
Yes.
And how we can reduce them. And you've got all the answers, is that correct?
I got some of the answers.
Okay, she's got some of the answers. I know you're going to have a lot of questions, but the main thing we want to make sure of is that you know how to contact her if you have questions after viewing everything that we're giving you. So I'm going to ask Linda a few questions, like when you started, where you are, and things like that, just so she can give us a background of what Together with Veterans, you'll hear it sometimes summarized as TWV, Together with Veterans. That's an organization that's trying to reduce or eliminate veteran suicides. And right now, I guess they're still pretty high.
Yes, they are. We're still 22% higher than civilians.
Wow.
In the community. And female veterans, our risk of suicide is 2.5 times higher than female civilians.
So when we look at veterans, their rates of leaving us is a lot higher.
Yes.
And so we've got to do something to show our veterans. I know we do every day in showing our veterans how much they're appreciated for everything they do for us in our country. But we also want to make sure that they don't feel they have to commit suicide. We want them to be able to be happy among us. So what are some of the other things we're doing, Linda?
We're getting together with organizations in the community, and we're doing outreaches with them to let them know what there is how to prevent suicide.
Okay.
And so that's what our group does, is we go out and we talk to organizations like churches and Kiwanis and Rotary and the VFW. And we talk to them about suicide prevention. And we get...
So let me stop you there. So if an organization that's watching or some people that are part of an organization would like to know more about TWV, they can contact you.
They can contact me, or
and then get a spokesperson to come and talk to them.
And anyone that's on our steering committee will be more than happy to come out and do a presentation. And we do 3-minute, 5-minute, and 15-minute presentations.
Oh, that's even better. Okay, how can they get in touch with you if they want that information?
They can contact me, Linda Wright, at 775-419-7857. Or they can contact Leanne at 775-727-9970, extension 204, or Leanne at nyecc.org.
And I'm going to ask you to repeat all of that again because I know somebody out there missed some of that, and we want to make sure they have it. So your number again?
775-419-7857.
And Leanne?
Leanne's is 775-727-9970, extension 204.
And you gave an email address too.
I gave Leanne, Leeann, at nyecc.org.
Okay. And that way, if you have any questions about anything that we're going to be discussing this evening, you can contact Linda or Leanne and get more information about TWV, Together with Veterans. Yes. Tell us more about this organization.
Okay, Together with Veterans is a veteran-led community-based suicide prevention program. TWV teams conduct public health action planning processes to address rural veteran suicide prevention. Implementation of action plans is an ongoing and is intended to create long-term relationships between veterans and community service providers. It deepens community awareness about veteran needs and improves services and support for veterans and their families.
Now, you did say veteran-led. So if
Veteran-led.
it's veteran-led, we need veterans, of course.
That's right. We need all kinds of veterans.
Are we still asking, or do we have enough veterans, or are we still looking?
We're still looking for more veterans all the time.
And veterans, I know you're watching this show, so we need you to sign up for this program. Contact Linda or Leanne and let them know, look, I'm interested in being a part of this. It's veteran-led. They want veterans to lead out on this. And right now, we have non-veterans that are taking the lead because all the veterans are not there. So we have some veterans. I don't want to say we have none. We have some veterans,
Yes.
but we don't have enough. So if you're a veteran or if you know a veteran that might be interested, be sure to contact Linda or Leanne and let them know that here's a person that might be interested. She can invite you to the meetings, and we can take it from there.
Right. Our mission is the Together with Veterans program enlists rural veterans and their local partners to join forces to reduce the veteran suicide in our communities.
You know, with the things that you've done so far, have you had any successes?
Yes, we've talked to a lot of veterans about suicide, and some of our committee members have talked some veterans out of suicide.
And has this been recognized by any large groups? When I say recognized, have you received a certificate or anything saying,
No.
hey, you're doing a great job?
No, not at this time. But we
Okay.
have received a certificate.
What's the certificate for?
Back in July, July 12th through 13th, myself and Michelle Caird and Eddie Williams went and attended a TWV summit in Colorado with 33 other TWV committees throughout the United States and Guam. And we came together and learned more about TWV and how we can help our communities. And we were able to get, we got a certificate that showed that we attended that summit
Okay.
and learned more about TWV. And there is our certificate. So we were very proud to bring it home.
Oh, this is great. It shows that we're doing something in our community to help veterans. This is just a part of it. And the leadership of TWV is taking the initiative to make sure that you are aware of everything that they're doing.
Yes, and it says the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs presents the Certificate of Appreciation to the Nye County Together with Veterans in recognition of your leadership in veteran suicide prevention on July 13th, 2022.
Outstanding.
And they also made us a beautiful banner that we can display when we go out and do recruiting or we go out to events. And all we had to do was send in our logo. And our logo says Nye County Together with Veterans. It has the American flag and the battle-born flag on it.
Okay, and I think we have a picture of that we could probably put
Yes.
on the screen to show exactly what the logo looks like. And I thought it looked pretty good. And there it is, Together with Veterans, and that's the logo that you created?
Yes, one of our members did
Oh,
that.
that's fantastic. And that flyer also has a lot of information on it. What other information does it have?
It has the Together with Veterans, what we're all about, and it has our mission on it. And it also has the Veteran Crisis Line on it with the 800 number and the how to text. So, and then there's a confidential chat at the email, or the email, crisis.net on it. And it also shows who we're funded by. We're funded by the Rocky Mountain Merrick and Witchy. which is our funder out of the VA Office of Rural Health. And it also has Leanne's contact information on it. And we're under the Nye Communities Coalition.
So it's a very informative flyer.
Yes.
And if somebody wanted a copy of the flyer, where would they go to get that?
They just contact Leanne,
Okay.
and she will get it out to you.
Okay. And they can also send it electronically, so they can also send it out to other people.
Right. And this one just happens to be the one-sided, but we do have a two-sided one, which gives you all the information on veteran suicide, prevention and behavioral health, the suicide and behavioral health care, and veterans and suicide, and how you can help, and asking a question.
Okay. Well, we also have to find out, how often do you meet?
We meet once a month on the second Tuesday of the month at 1 o'clock, and we do that by Zoom or in person.
Okay, so if somebody just wanted to come by and do it in Zoom, they can do that, or they can be there in person and learn everything that we're trying to put out here today.
Right. And we meet usually in room 31 or 32 at 1 o'clock at the Nye Communities Coalition.
One of the classrooms, and again, on which Tuesday is that?
The second Tuesday.
Second Tuesday every month.
Every month.
And what time?
1 p.m.
1 p.m. And we'll be looking for you there. If you want more information on that, of course, contact Linda or Leanne, and also come back in our next session, because we have so much more information about TWV together with veterans and ways to reduce or eliminate veteran suicide. So keep the pencil and paper handy and come back and join us for the next session and more information from Linda talking about TWV. Welcome back. We're glad to have you back with us. I still have Linda Wright with me. She's the chairman of TWV, Together with Veterans. And that's an organization that is working very hard to reduce or eliminate veteran suicides. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart and near and dear to the heart of all veterans, families of veterans, friends of veterans, our entire country. So this is a very important group that's meeting to do something good for our country and our veterans. So, Linda, tell us more about, we know you meet on the second Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
And where do you meet again?
We meet at the Nye Communities Coalition in either room 32 or 31.
Okay, one of the classrooms for Nye Communities Coalition. And you also said that you meet either by Zoom or in person.
Yes, we do both, because we have a lot of nurses and doctors and health practitioners that can't join us in person, so we do the Zoom.
Oh, that's fantastic. When you have doctors and nurses and the medical people that they have to be at work, but they can get away by Zoom just for the time that you're meeting, I think this is fantastic. And they can provide such an insight as to what's going on. So you talked about you have a primary group, and you're looking for veterans, of course, but about how many people do you have?
We have right now about 10 on our steering committee, and we're looking for more, especially veterans, because we're looking to start a veterans peer group.
What is the peer group? Tell us about that.
The peer group is going to be veterans helping veterans.
Okay.
And especially when they're in a suicide crisis, so that they have someone to talk to. More so than myself. I'm a veterans advocate, but I'm only a family member to a veteran.
Okay.
And sometimes they don't want to talk to a person like me, but they will have more of a camaraderie with a fellow veteran than a layperson. So
veteran peer group, and so you're looking for veterans that are willing to do that.
Yes, we are.
So if any of the veterans out there right now may be interested in in saying, look, yes, I'd like to sit and talk to a veteran when they're going through a crisis time in their lives, and I might be able to help.
Yes, very much so.
Do you look at the different branches, or does it matter?
It really doesn't matter, but sometimes uh, an Air Forceman might want to just talk to a fellow Air Forceman, or a fellow Army person might want to just talk to an Army person. But sometimes they just want to talk to a fellow military person.
Okay. I know when you mention that, when we think about the different branches, and we are different in so many different ways, but I'll just say if they're Iraqi veterans, they want to talk to other Iraqi veterans.
Yes.
Afghanistan, want to talk to people who've been to Afghanistan. Vietnam, and so on. Because we know what those individuals went through. But if you have a person that served in Afghanistan and they're talking to a person from Vietnam, a veteran talking to a veteran really does help.
Helps so much.
This is peer groups. That's something unique. How did they come up with that?
Well, in our groups, we break down to trying to find out what is most important to a veteran. And that was what part of our discussion, because we want to do what's best for a veteran. And that's one of the points that was brought up in our discussion groups. We break off into different groups during our meetings, and that was something that was brought up.
You know, I think in other areas they look at peers talking to peers to make things better. So if that was something that came up and you guys have already adopted it, I think that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Because we wanted to figure out how to handle an emergency, how to handle an urgent call.
So how do these calls happen?
Well, that's one of the things that we're working on.
Okay. Because it sounds to me like it would be from a medical person that they're sitting talking to a veteran and realize, look, I've got a crisis here. What do I do?
So if we get a call and it's a crisis, we will call a medical person.
Okay.
And we are working with the Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
And we are trying to set up different trainings. And one of the trainings we're looking into setting up is training the officers, the deputies.
Oh, that's even better.
Yes, and then we're also trying to set up some trainings for the community on suicide.
Now, I know when they talk about, and I see a lot of this on TV, where they're looking at having like social work people or somebody that's trained in the crisis to go with the law enforcement person. Yes. Would that be similar to this?
We're looking into that also.
Okay.
So that's primarily what our group is headed towards right now, is trying to get these trainings set up so that our community is more informed and more trained to help prevent these suicides.
So one of the things I think we can do is say, everybody that's watching this show tonight should be an advocate to make sure that we have veterans that are interested in TWV together with veterans. We have family members and friends of veterans that are interested in making sure this works. Mm-hmm. But everybody in the community needs to be aware of this.
Yes, they should.
And so that's your job.
That's my job, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, to make sure that you are aware of everything that's going on and how you can help and be a vital part of what we're trying to accomplish in reducing and eliminating veteran suicides.
Yes.
Now, we know we have about 10 people on your steering committee, and you say you want more?
We want a few more.
What's the maximum number you'd want? How many of the people watching tonight need to go in there and make sure your steering committee is at max capability?
Well, our steering committee keeps growing and then dropping.
Oh.
And that's why we keep looking for more. Okay. And veterans, that's why we keep asking for more veterans to come out for our steering committee. So.
Now, like you said, you do have some veterans there, and I know when you mentioned the fact that you had gone to Colorado
Yes.
and you had a veteran with you
Yes,
for
we
that?
had a veteran with us, and he's also the president of the Rotary Club, so that was a plus there too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Michelle is on the board at the Valley Electric, so I had community people too, so that was a plus for me.
And you mentioned Michelle. I think she's chairperson of the Transportation Committee.
She's chairperson of the
Oh, so
transportation.
you have all these volunteers from the community that are doing so much for our community, and now they're doing so much for our veterans.
Yes, and that's the same way with me. I do other things in the community, but this is near and dear to my heart also, my veterans.
This is good news for all of us, because without people like Linda and all the other volunteers they're doing so much in our community, we wouldn't be able to accomplish nearly what we've accomplished so far.
Right.
And we really appreciate everything you're doing. Tell us more about Together with Veterans in the time that we have left.
Together with Veterans came to me, and I came to it just as a volunteer to join. And then they needed a secretary, and so I said I could be a secretary. So
Okay.
I signed up just to be their secretary. And then we tried to get a veteran to step up to be the chairperson, and that didn't work. And I couldn't see this program go by the wayside, and it needed a chairperson. And so I stepped up to the plate because this is so important in our community. We have had so many suicides in this community.
Yes.
And yes, they haven't all been by veterans, but some of them have. And veterans are near and dear to my heart, and that's why I stepped up. I was department president for the VFW Auxiliary, and so I knew I could do this job. And so that's why one of the reasons I stepped up for my veterans, and I will do a good job.
Now, you have male and female veterans.
Yes, I do.
On your steering committee.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And that's what we needed to hear, because, a lot of times we think about the male veterans and we forget all about our women veterans. And women have served just as well as the men. So we have the women veterans, and Linda mentioned earlier about the suicide rate on women veterans is much higher than women in general.
Yes.
So we want you to get in touch with Linda or Leanne and make sure that you're involved in supporting this great organization, Together with Veterans. Together with Veterans, again, to reduce or eliminate veteran suicides in our community. And it's going to take community effort to make sure that happens. And the only way to do it is if you get involved. Contact Linda or Leanne, let them know you're interested, and then next month we'll be doing this all again and making sure that people come out to the meetings. So thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We're glad to have you back with us. Of course, I have another guest with me, and tonight we're going to continue the same vein of what we're talking about. The earlier sessions talked about veteran suicide, and now we're talking about the fact of after someone passes away and the grief you're going through. This is GriefShare. And GriefShare support group, the leader is Marcia Savage. And Marcia,
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I am so glad to have you here because I've talked to several people about GriefShare, and I know our viewing audience may or may not be aware of exactly what you do.
Yes.
And I think it's important that everybody knows what you do and how well you do it. So here we are. And I also want to say that in the studio with Marcia is Sharon Colt. She works with Marcia, and they do such a wonderful service for our community. So I'm going to have to ask Marcia right away, what is GriefShare? Explain to our viewing audience what GriefShare is all about.
It's a wonderful program that was started in 1996, actually. And it's for anyone that has lost a loved one.
That's
Grief,
all of us.
that's everyone, yes, you're right. Yeah, at some point in our time, we all do lose someone. And this program was started up, and it has 3 components. We do a video, we have a workbook, and we also have a sharing discussion after
Okay.
the video. So, and it's such a wonderful program. We do 13 weeks, and each week is a different subject.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So I know that since I've been doing this show, I had your predecessor on. Do you remember when that was?
Pete, yes.
Yes, Pete Giordano, and that was several years ago,
Yeah, I believe 2016.
2016. He was on this show twice and provided so much information to us, but that was a long time ago. So now it's updated, and they're using a lot of the same information and getting the same, I guess, the same results, because
Oh, yes.
very
good.
positive results on helping people through this time of grief.
Yeah, it's titled From Mourning to Joy.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful.
Each of us, we're all unique, and we go through our grief process differently.
Yes.
And Central Valley Baptist Church has been there to support this program for 7 years now.
Okay.
And it's just been wonderful. Pete had lost his wife, Ann, in January of 2015. And he had also had a previous loss. They lost a son, too. And so they were not new to this grief. And Pete's daughter had asked him and wanted him to get some kind of grief support. And she lived in Henderson, and she knew of a church there that had the GriefShare program. And she got Pete to go to that program for several sessions.
Okay.
And Pete was so impressed with this program and how it worked. Together with the pastor in Henderson and with Pastor Ron at Central Valley Baptist Church, they got together and they figured out a way to bring it to Pahrump. So Pete started this in July of 2015 in Pahrump. And actually, July of 2015 was when I lost my second husband. And I'm just so blessed that Pete started up this program. I didn't start right away. I think it was until about October before I joined the group. And I just knew right away that it was definitely something that would help not only me, but others.
The right group,
their
the right group at the right time.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned Central Valley Baptist Church. Where is it located?
Central Valley Baptist Church is on Blag. It's 3170 South Blag Road. It's between Calvada and Gamebird, so it's not that hard to find. And they've been such a wonderful support for us by offering us their fellowship hall and tables and just such a great support. And they've been wonderful through this whole program.
Well, you mentioned Pastor Ron. He's a dear friend of mine.
Yes.
And is he still with the program?
Yes, he is. He's retired, but he's
retired.
a deacon in our church
Okay.
now. So he's still very involved. And
Excellent.
to him, GriefShare is one of his babies, too.
Okay.
So he's very blessed to be able to be there and help with that.
He's a wonderful individual, he and his
He is.
wife.
Yes.
Okay. So when we look at GriefShare, you mentioned the different programs, and the different weeks that you're meeting, and you're meeting at Central Valley Baptist Church. When do you meet?
We started out on Saturdays at 1 o'clock, and the program runs for 2 hours.
Okay.
And within those 2 hours, we do a real short introduction. We all try to say our first name, who we lost, and how we found GriefShare. And it kind of just warms us up a little bit. And then we go into the video, which is anywhere from 32 minutes to 40 minutes.
Okay.
And after that, we take a short break and we have coffee and refreshments and cookies, just kind of a relaxed atmosphere
Okay.
after that. And then we have a discussion time where we, as leaders and facilitators of the group, we have a book that helps us ask specific questions
Okay.
to them to try to get them to relate to the video and see how it relates to their situations.
Okay.
So, and the discussions go pretty good. We tell them if you're not ready, which most aren't in the beginning, it's very hard to even just state your name sometimes. So we tell them if you can't say anything, just pass. And we do have confidentiality in our group, so anything that is said there stays there.
Very good. Okay.
And GriefShare is a non-denominational group. You don't have to belong to a specific church, but we do use scripture in our sessions.
Okay.
And also we do pray before we meet and at the end. So
Well, you're meeting in a church, so I think that's very appropriate.
yes,
And being non-denominational really helps as well.
it does.
Okay.
It does.
So you're meeting, again, I'm going to keep saying this over and over so people know exactly where it is. Central Valleys Baptist Church, and you're meeting one day a week?
Well, recently we started two.
Oh, okay.
We were getting on Saturdays up to 20, 22 people. And it was starting to get kind of a big group. So we discussed it as leaders, and I felt that maybe we should have another group,
Okay.
another meeting. And we decided on a Monday evening, because Saturday afternoon, some people spend Saturdays with their families. So we thought Monday would be a good day. And we actually have people that go to both meetings.
Oh,
They like the Saturday one, but they also still want to come to Monday evenings.
Okay.
So,
so you have different phases at the two different groups?
no, we actually do the same video.
Okay.
And Monday we'll show the video, and Saturday it's the same video.
Okay, and they don't mind seeing it twice?
No, they don't.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, we do, I mentioned the 13 weeks.
Yes.
Every 13 weeks, when we finish, we do a special program for the community called Loss of a Spouse. And Loss of a Spouse is like a great introduction to the GriefShare program. It's a one-time video. We do it on about our 14th week.
Okay.
And it helps bring people from the community in to see what GriefShare is like. And after that, the 15th week, we do a celebration of life. And this is just a potluck dinner. We fellowship. We used to launch balloons in our loved ones' names. But recently, the last few sessions we've had, we decided to try something different. And we're doing a rock memorial garden, where each participant can paint a rock with their loved one's name, date, any information that they want. And we have a section in the church on the property where we've kind of made a very special garden. And it's just a beautiful place to sit and just think about our loved ones and remember all the good things. So. And this has become very, very popular with all of our participants.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Yes.
This is, I know you and I have talked before coming on camera, but if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, and I'm going to say that because this show is seen in Clark County as well as Nye County, if you're interested in the show or if you're interested in getting more information and you contact Marcia, let her know that you saw it on the show and where you live. Whether you live in Mesquite or other parts of Clark County or anywhere in Nye County, let her know where you're calling from. And if you're not coming to Pahrump for this program, she might be able to tell you where else you can go for another GriefShare program. But we want you to come to Pahrump because you'll enjoy it here.
Yes, we have a fantastic group, and it is very easy. All you have to do is go online. The website is griefshare.org, and you can put in your zip code.
Okay.
And it will show you all the local groups in your area, which ones are closer, and their times, and everything about that meeting.
And we're going to be telling you more about that in our next session, since we're running out of time for this one. But we want you to remember exactly what she just said, and we're going to give you the phone numbers, and we're going to give you the website again in our next session. Be sure to write it down. That way you can find the GriefShare program close to you. But we want you to come to Pahrump. That's where the best one is. So come back and join us. Welcome back for our final session. Each month, I tell you, I really hate to have the last session because things are going so well. And when we talk about the GriefShare program, I think it is so important that you understand exactly where we are. And Marcia Savage is here to tell us all about the GriefShare program, located in Pahrump, Nevada. But I know you may be in other parts of Nevada, and you're watching this program, and you want to know more about GriefShare and what it's all about. Marcia, tell us more about what you can accomplish in coming to a GriefShare program.
Well, I think one of the main things is people, when they first do come into our group, they're so raw and the tears are just flowing. And we try to make them so welcome and let them know that we've been there. We know what grief feels like, and this is not anything that you can rush through. Everybody has their own way of grieving and of getting through the grief.
Yes.
And with this program that we have, with the 13 videos, each one is a different subject.
Okay.
And I find that some people, when they first come into our meetings, they feel so alone. They feel like, I'm going crazy. Is this really happening? These are all perfectly normal feelings of people going through grief. And I think once they realize that they're not alone, we've all been there and we've gone through this, and they find it such a easy and nice atmosphere too, that these people actually understand. So, and we do allow tears. We have tissues on every table, and we allow them. We think that's a good way of expressing our feeling in grief too.
Now, something we haven't talked about, but you have men and women in here.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And the men do cry too.
Absolutely.
And we do have one that's a very good spokesperson for us too. And he will admit, he'll tell you, men do cry. Yeah. And it's a good expression of their grief, is to let it out.
Okay. Now, if somebody is interested in finding out more information, who can they call?
Okay, well, the church number I had given, it's up on the screen too. And GriefShare is an international program. Okay. They have it all over the world, not only just in the United States. It's very well and widespread. You can just type in the website and put griefshare.org/local and put in your zip code, and you can find where the meetings are in your area.
Okay.
And the website gives all the information about the 13 weeks, about the videos, about our discussion, and we have a workbook too. Not everybody likes to journal, but I found when I first joined GriefShare, I was writing just everything from the video over and over again, and it's good to get those emotions out.
Okay. Oh, GriefShare.org if you want more information. And the phone number was on the screen. You talked about a rock garden.
Yes.
What do you accomplish in the rock garden? And I know we have a picture of that too, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We've had really good coverage. There, well, they got it on there right now. This is the most recent, and this is after our 13 weeks. We do the celebration of life, and it's a potluck. It's a fellowship time. It's very laid back and very enjoying for the group. And I have people that go through, we do 3 13-week sessions in a year.
Okay.
And I have people that have come 2, 3, even 4 years. I mean, these videos are so well done. It doesn't matter how many times you've seen them. You always miss something. You'll see something new every time you watch the video. And we decided to start this rock garden in memory of our loved ones. We have a pre-painted rock, and you put your loved one's name, a date, a message, whatever you would like on it. And then we have a section in our parking lot at the church where we've designated it as our memorial garden.
Oh, great.
And it's very peaceful. We have a bench where you can even sit and reflect and just spend time alone with your loved ones there.
GriefShare, something that we all need, and here's the opportunity. So if you're going through a difficult time right now because you've lost someone, be sure to contact Marcia and let her know that, look, I'm interested in this program. Tell me more, or whatever. If you've written down something and you just have some questions, she'll be there to answer your questions for you. So, yeah, again, the phone number has been given. We want you to remember that phone number, 775-910-9995. That's the church, Central Valley Baptist Church.
Yes.
They are non-denominational, and they keep it that way. But it's a wonderful meeting place, and you'll meet other people that are going through the same things that you are. And you've got excellent facilitators there. I've mentioned Marcia, but you also have Sharon, and you have one other person.
Darlene.
Darlene. So these are the people that you're going to meet while you're there, and these are people that are going to help you get through the grieving that you're going through. She's mentioned, too, that everybody goes through the grieving process differently. Nobody is just like anybody else, but everybody finds their place in this program. And that's where, if you think you need to be there, contact them so that you can be there. Marcia, tell us more about GriefShare.
Another program, besides the 13 weeks, I mentioned the loss of a spouse. Well, with it being November now, we also have a program that's called Surviving the Holidays.
Oh, yes.
In grief, there are so many dates, memories, birthdays, anniversaries, they hit us hard, especially the first year after someone has passed. And so they have come up with a program to help people through surviving the holidays after you've lost a loved one. And we have 2 sessions coming up, one in November, one in December, for both on surviving the holidays. One will start Saturday in November the 12th, and then December 5th and December 10th. We'll have the same program, that's both Monday and Saturday. And Surviving the Holidays is just a great tool to help people, especially to let them know that they're not alone in their grief. And that's one of the main purposes of this group, is we're all there to help everyone through. You'll find that you're all alone. You have no one to go to dinner to, or, events out. And that's why we try to make it like a family. We're like a family. And we do fellowship. We do tend to go out to eat every now and then too, with just the people from our group.
Okay.
And it's good to get them to interact and to do things that they normally just, they don't want to step out and do alone.
Yes.
So,
Wonderful program. A wonderful program. Now, you talked about the workbooks that you have.
yes.
And on the workbooks, how do the workbooks guide you through this?
The workbooks were developed by a lot of professionals.
Okay.
In GriefShare, myself and Sharon and Darlene, we're all just participants that came to the GriefShare program because we lost someone. We're there to help guide them through.
Okay.
And the actual professionalists are on the videos, and they are in our workbook too.
Okay.
The workbook it's full of information on the program, and like I mentioned, each week we do a different video, and each week there's a section in the workbook where they'll ask specific questions about that video, and you have the opportunity to journal or to write. And it's just amazing because I have been in the program for so long too, to go back and see what you wrote when you first joined GriefShare and then 2 or 3 years later.
Okay.
See how far you've come and how much the program has helped you.
Now, something we haven't even talked about is, what is the cost of this program?
Okay, the cost, we usually just ask you to purchase the workbook. Right now it's $20.
Okay.
And that $20 goes towards keeping the program running.
Mm-hmm.
The workbook right now, we've been using it for 7 years, the same one. So, but the loss of a spouse and the surviving the holidays, it's a smaller workbook. And those, if we do charge you, it's $5.
Okay.
But the church also has scholarships. If you are not able, the church will help. They're such a great sponsor, and they're there to help everyone get through this.
Now,
So.
loss of a spouse, which I thought was pretty good, and then they have the leader's guide. And the leader's guide is for what?
That's for the facilitators. It
Okay.
has, I mentioned, questions after the video. We try to get them to
Gotcha.
get their minds going to see, how did you relate to that video? Who stood out the most in that video?
Okay.
How did you, connect?
All the appropriate questions to make sure that you're hearing and you're following exactly what's going on. Loss of a spouse is something I hadn't heard about, and I think it's very important, especially like she said during the holidays. So these are the times that you really want to get in touch with Marcia or Sharon or Darlene, and let them know, look, I'm very interested in this program. Tell me more. And no matter where you're calling from, again, please let her know that you saw her on the show and the fact that you're very interested in finding out more about GriefShare, not only for yourself, but maybe for family or friends or someone else. And I want to remind you, come back and join us again for the next show next month, because we'll have other exciting guests for you to see. So come back and join us.
Thank you.